Okay, check. Okay, there we go. All right, it's a little later than I would have wanted to start, so I'm gonna do a quick speed through of the watch list here. I was ready to go at 9:05 with the classic morning dump, right? As we all know so well. So I have AZI on my screen, which does seem to be holding up fairly well. Gonna get a couple of levels here. We got the pre-market high at 349. It seems to be a recent IPO, or at least a recent name change. We got all-time highs here at 410. So far, the consolidation, the pullback, we've been holding up 315 or so. This one looks decent. I'm just going to double check the daily chart here to make sure that it is a recent IPO. AZI. The name kind of sounds a little familiar. Okay, it's not a recent IPO. It seems like the 1-minute chart just has limited data, which makes sense. Yeah, the 1-minute chart doesn't usually go back as much. Okay, so looking at the daily chart, we did have 2 or 3 candlesticks in the last few weeks that pushed up and sold off, getting up to 641 and 762. So, not a good history for this stock here. It pops up and sells off. So what that tells me is, hey, if we do see a good front side move the first 5, 8, 10 minutes, gotta catch something there and then just be ready for it to Christmas tree, right? So AZI, which is a little down on the list, at 47% move, 49% move. I'm gonna check out some other ones here. ELAB. Doesn't really look like much, but maybe there's something here. It doesn't look like much. Let's see, CYCN. I'm gonna have to include all of these on the watch list. So let's just put it up there. ELAB, CYCN. Typically, we want something that's like looking really obvious that will give us a move over the pre-market high early. But, from what we're seeing here, some of the top stocks, the RUG, up at 120, a little too pricey for me at this point. Nothing really standing out, ALMS, which is actually leading the way, up 150%. 18 million shares of volume, 61 million share float. Float a little higher, but honestly, with holding longer and giving stocks more time, for me, the float haven't really been as much of an issue, especially if the stock can still move. So ALMS, perhaps could be worth it here for the open. I'm studying what I want to have on my other screen, CYCN. I'm going to turn down my volume a little bit here too. Hold up. Actually, let's just pull this to the side. And just come right here. Bada bing, bada boom. I've had this full screen thing. I don't know. I might go back to having the taskbar up. I don't know. It all depends though. Screen recording is already turned on. So ALMS, AZI, ELAB, CYCN. I'm gonna come to a one. So I'm gonna have like 2 other stocks up because I'm not sure which one's gonna be the strong one. That's all I'm concerned about, right? Finding the stock that will give us a good front side, hold up its levels, and continue. So this is the watch list that I'm keeping an eye on. Some others might have some other stocks they like, but looking to keep it simple. Yeah, the morning dump is a must, bro. I've been that way since I've been a child. And as you guys can see here, I can talk about anything because I feel pretty comfortable. Pastor does not mind the conversations that others will avoid. We embrace. As you're tuning in, be sure to hit the thumbs up if you're a new viewer. Also consider subscribing to the channel as you watch throughout the day, as you watch throughout the videos. I'll pull up the watch list here just for a quick sec, but I think I'm going to watch ALMS into the open. We have 5 minutes. I do want to remind myself of a couple of things here before we get into the open. Just 3 things, right? Of course, as we get closer to 9:30, I want to be a little bit more attentive and be, aware of all the levels that I could encounter for early trades. Other than that, on pullbacks, I want to be very careful and wait for confirmation signals on the dips. So let's say we do find our strong stock of the day and we're having a bigger pullback or even flush down. I don't want to take the pullback early. Instead, I want to just wait for confirmation. That way, we're protecting ourselves a little bit better. Because in the past, what I used to do a lot, I never would wait for anything signal wise other than we're pulling back into a place where we had prior resistance, and that resistance would always, most of the well, not always, but most of the times become support. So there was no need to wait. Like if I know $5 was our previous resistance, if we flush down from like 550, I'm buying it with my eyes closed because that's what worked for years, right? So now we'd like flush through those levels like nothing. So waiting for confirmation is better. And even if it means missing some trades, that's fine. And the third thing to remind myself of here is to be more aggressive on the front side move once we do identify a strong stock. The first 2 minutes of the day is a little tricky because we're seeing so many stocks. They have 2 good green candles and then, new lows. So we got to be careful of being too aggressive too early still. But after minute number 2, 3, minute number 4, especially when we're seeing something still hold up, that's the cue for me to like, hey, this one obviously is still going. The other 2 or 3 might have sold off a bit. Time to go for it, right? So as usual, we're utilizing Day Trade Dash here for scanners and for charts. Anybody who's interested, right? The links are always down below. Ever since Thinkorswim, banned our accounts, we did really like the Thinkorswim charts, but after switching over here, I have no complaints, no issues. In fact, these charts are even a little bit better because Thinkorswim, for some reason, it was so laggy, right? Like even if you come to the charts, like doing something as simple as this to like zoom in, it's like there's frame rates which for this day and age, it's like unacceptable, really. But yeah. Anyhows, so I'm utilizing Sage, Guardian, Webull. My E-Trade account I don't use as much, and the cat is like going crazy in the background. All right, okay. 2 minutes to go. ALMS. If this one is not the stock of the day, I'll be switching over to something else. I want to check the daily chart here quickly just to see 21. So it's quite a move for this stock. It looks like it's over all-time highs. Nice. If this is the one, can this go to 30 and then 40 maybe? It's hard to say here for sure with certainty, but again, we'll go, and depending on which one it is, we'll adjust. AZI time, we got 30 seconds. AZI and input ELAB here. All right, let's be disciplined. Let's have a good day. Yeah, Thinkorswim might have some stocks that's not tradable. Throwing out a starter here. Okay. No good for a LMS for the dip. Nothing on the scans as of yet. See what I did there? I didn't wait for confirmation, right? Jesus Christ. Waiting patiently. Waiting patiently. CYCN, ELAB, not much. The inner scalper inside of me, sometimes it fights to come out, you know, it fights to come out. AZI, how are we doing? I'm not doing too well on that one. BNAI and others are hitting the scans. Can take a look. BNAI looks like it might be decent. I'm gonna check it out. So we have the first two candlesticks that are green. Will it hold up here though? The pre-market highs, and this one was way low. It's a nice curl off the lows. 490. So the key here for this one, if it pulls back here, we can't afford to sell off all the way back down to like $4. The halt is at 93, so if it does come up there to the pre-market high, there's a halt level right there. I'd hope there's a pullback before we get halted up. We had a high of 90. So will we see a Christmas tree early, or will we hold up early here for BNAI? Up 30% with some decent volume so far. Watching the pullback and looking to add. There's a penny stock moving, EVTV. EVTV, let me take a quick look. EVTV does seem interesting, I can't lie. Although we're kind of occupied here. It's halting? Holy smokes, damn. Maybe that's the stock of the day, you know, it's possible. But BNAI seems strong as well, so it's hard to say just, you know, right away. There is a new 5-minute candlestick here, but still watching the setup for BNAI. EVTV. EVTV. BNAI. So we got two stocks moving. Watching the current consolidation here for BNAI. We're right above the VWAP. I'm giving it a sec here. Again, what I want to be careful of is it just Christmas treeing if we're like not the stock of the day. And the other one is around 73 cents. It seems like it almost halted up earlier, but kind of just quite didn't get there. If this pullback holds up, then I know for sure the stock is going to be good, but it's not out of the woods. It's like still here, so I'm just waiting. And I'm out. EVTV might be the one here. Decent trade. The first trade of the day, however, not so decent. So this one might be the one here. And we're on a 5-minute red candlestick. Is this the type of stock that's going to give us 5 minutes of action? See, I'm pretty concerned about, limited front side. Because if it is, then the move is done. But if we can continue, then there's a chance. False breakout there in 1 minute. We got lows at 68. I'll be keeping an eye on the red to green here. A couple of red trades to start, so definitely got to be careful. And we'll utilize some small size here. There's a new low of 66. Again, if the front side move is done, then there's nothing here. So I'd hope there's a red to green. The other one already Christmas tree. It's like back at the lows. BNAI after three good candlesticks is back down to 0 where it started percentage wise for the open. CYCN. Still a little early, although it could be good. I want to keep an eye here for red to green signals though. EVTV, watching it again here. Really small size. Adding a little bit here. What's the high of day? 77. You know, will we see at least 74, 73, 75 maybe? The 5-minute candle to make the new high will be at 72. BNAI below the low of day open price, which is just, you know, ridiculous. So that was not the stock of the day, not even close. Not even close. So we're seeing an early pullback here, which is fine. As long as we're not gonna, you know, make a new low. All right, it's good to see that trade there work out nicely. Time 49. Showing a little bit of range there on that dip. So we got 69 to about 73, 74 right there. Right now we're waiting on the sidelines. Our first 3 or 4 trades were red trades, so taking it slow, but willing to use a little bit more size here in the next setup. It's a rejection candlestick, which not ideal for the setup, but we'll see if we end up getting a higher low here, or maybe it, there's a retest eventually. We're still early in this candlestick, in the new 5-minute candlestick, so waiting. Everything else looking depsy. AZI not really showing much yet. I don't know. It looks to me like it's going to come down some more, I'm just going to wait. If it does end up holding up, I could try the 1-minute candlestick to break out. But I think we're looking just a little weaker here. We'll see how it plays out the next 2-3 minutes. If we end up making the new high and we get a retest, again, I don't love the setup here. It's fighting for its life right now, though. It'll be interesting. Will we make a new low here? Will it hold up? Double bottom? Will it, it's hard to say. We're seeing some selling pressure. Looks like a new low. Waiting patiently. Does it have one more hurrah? Or is this already backside? I'm gonna throw out a small starter again and watch here. I'm hoping it's not done, of course. That way we can like see something. But you know, if it is, it's it's. I missed the first 5 minutes, so watching and waiting. Expectations at least like 73 if it's gonna be anything. I mean, if not, then we'll see what it does. So we're in position for the 5 minute candlestick to make the new high. We'll see if it does give the follow through here. A bit of an early pullback, which I don't mind as long as we're able to hold our key levels here. By the way, I don't think anything else is moving just yet. So still watching EVTV, and I'll keep an eye on the scans, but nothing's really hit. Oh, shoots, bro. Come on. I did try to add, but I'm clicked on a different window. These mistakes are killing me, man. 73 is what I'm thinking we should at least see here, so I'm just waiting. Show me the moon of 73. There's 72. It's 2 trades of 5 cents. It's not bad. Let's see what it does now. For me to have a good day, I need like another 2 good trades. So what I need for this stock to do is to make a new high, which I don't know. We started the day with that nonsense trade, bro. Like just didn't didn't wait for good confirmation. I try to take a price action trade, which just not it. It's not it right now. Man, you gotta fight the urge to not do nonsense. As in previous entries are not as good from prior markets. There might be an opportunity here. I don't love this trade. I'll take the half cent. Oh, okay. There's a couple more. There's another half cent. 74. Okay. Still a little early though. And there's a new candlestick now. It's looking like it's looking decent, but there's still risk because we could see a head and shoulder pattern here. What we don't want is for this stock to go back down to the lows of the VWAP level that we came from. If we can maintain the current consolidation, then there's a good chance it can make a new high. If we go back down to like 66, we might as well shut it down. So what we need is a breakout through 75 to push us over 79, and then this thing just goes into a halt or something. Ideally, if it goes back down, then There's no telling if we'll come back up again. $79. Come on. Don't reject. Do not reject. $79. $79. You can do it. Fly. Short sellers are panicking. Take us to the moon. 76. Do I hear 78? 79? Ross finished up 7,500. Nice. 7,500 bucks a day to keep the 9 to 5 away. Fly, fly through 80. What's the high? 70, 80. We had pretty much 80 on this candlestick. Shit. Where did I get filled? Damn it. Bro, you gotta be quick. Nothing has changed, I suppose. Oh, and my car's on the wrong side of the street. I'm gonna get a ticket. Lovely. Which means I gotta size up for an extra 50 bucks here. Damn it. Bro, why are they coming with snow all over the road? It doesn't make any sense. My hotkeys, because I'm using so many platforms, like it's just what I need is for my Weeble hotkeys to be the same as my other hotkeys. It'll make things so much easier, but it can't because it's not the same system, you know? And I got some slippage there. Well, you know, decent, I'd say. My biggest position, about 4,000, 6,000 shares. We went from green to from red to green here with the small size. You know, on Thinkorswim a year ago on a stock like this, I'd be taking 20k size to start. Now I'm taking 2k size. It's a major difference. An early red to green here would be good in this dip if we're to see it. Looks like it's cooked for now. It's pretty bullish because we did make the new high, although not by a lot. So we'd have to hope for a tighter hold, I'd say. I think it's still worth the next setup. There's nothing worse than getting a ticket from parking in front of your own house, you know. At least 6, 7 times a year, they get me. The number one indicator that you're living in the wrong area. EVTV. We need to level up our day trading gains this year and move to Calabasas. Maybe we're a little early here. Might have been a little early for the 1 minute candle there. It's a quick rejection. Almost like a false wick too. Doesn't have what it takes to curl back to the highs. You see, this is the issue with missing this first move. You know, this move here is just, if you capture this move, you don't even need to even look back at your screen again. Like, your day could be done. Now we're here just watching what's barely an uptrend in some areas and then back down. What is barely an uptrend, 653 to 77 in the first move. Like, this is it. You know, once you miss this, that's the, you know, a big difference with these current markets too is that we're not really seeing a second and third leg. A second and third leg, we get an equal move to this again. Like, you know, once we get over the highs at 80, we go up to 110, and then maybe consolidate for another 30 minutes or an hour, and then once it gets over 110, we go to 140. So you get 3 of these sweet incline moves in this current market. If you miss this, that's it. You might as well say, hey, tomorrow again. You got to find the strong stock early. And it's not as obvious at times, you know, some days like this, a stock that's like a little below the VWAP ends up ripping up. It's just difficult to tell that, you know. It's difficult to tell if it means business or not. How are you guys doing in the chat room? I might have to stop out of this starter again. I gotta stop playing with this thing. Yeah, you know, I'd say it's a bit of a slower day for me. I kind of started the day off poorly with that trade that I didn't wait for confirmation. Lost 140 bucks for nothing. You know, it's like you have to remember that, like, hey, we're going a little slow right now. Like, we can't afford those, you know, nonsense trades, right? We should never be able to afford a nonsense trade like that. The scalper. So, you know, it's like the scalper in me, right? Like I saw what I would usually be looking for, and I jumped in, right? No good. I think this stock could go at the highs again. It's possible. It's not guaranteed, but it's possible. Hopefully there's something else. Right now we're like barely green. We're like flat on the day pretty much. Flat on the day. Why don't I change these to shift, bro? What's stopping me? Is it overlapping with something else? Maybe it is. I think it is. So I'm watching the setup again here. Can't afford a false breakout on the early uptrend if it does start. I want to check in the chat room here to see how the people are doing. My starter is under pressure here. Ah, not good. That was a big loss. Well, it looks like this one is finished. Well, that's going to put me back right on the day here. From 277 to 58 in that trade. I think we call this a flat day or a small red day. So I mentioned just now, hopefully there's not a false breakout early in the uptrend, just for that reason right there, right? Because I like to add in that area, and if we're not gonna go, you know, especially if we don't go at a big drop like that, then I'm kind of adding into nothingness. I'd say decent though for this, for where we showed up. We traded the chop pretty well, which was this chaos here. Next time the goal is to catch the front side. Front side Momo. Right now there's nothing. I think the best thing to do here is to wait till tomorrow. Unless something can surprise us here. Unless something can surprise us. Not seeing too many call outs in the chat today. HX. Was that any good? I missed that one. Yeah, I think calling it a small red day is the way to go here. We're down 150. There just isn't anything here really. Hopefully something could come, to give like a uptrend, but if we look at our watch list stocks, maybe AZI over time could curl up. CYCN. CYCN, no good. ELAB. This one doesn't look like it stands a chance. And that's pretty much it besides EVTV. IMSR. EVTV, does it have what it takes? I don't know. We just rejected this level here. Yeah, if my hotkeys were able to be like linear throughout these three platforms, well, I guess Weeble's the one because the others are like through DAS, so it's like the same. But if I could get my Weeble hotkeys to be the same, it'll be so much easier. There's some awkwardness in terms of like trying to get out of some trades. I had to talk to Tim about some hotkey stuff. And XTT and some other random stocks hitting the scans. It's halted up out of nowhere. Not the type of opportunity I'm interested in. Too risky. Nothing looks good. Nothing looks good. This is the only thing that might stand a chance if this, gets over the high and gives like another leg, but nothing looks good. Nothing looks great, rather. This is the only thing that could stand a chance. Like, we need to not reject the 72 level. And then, if we can hold up here into this range and then... So I'll try to pull back into the level if we can go. If it can boost through here. Bro, and I even had one of those trades where I made 5 cents. I added it, but I'm on the wrong order entry window. Like, I'm on the wrong level too, so nothing happened. The hotkey are not the same. On the wrong one again. Okay, here we go. If this pulls through, pushes through, can we see 75? And, from there, I'd attempt to trade. The volume here is much lower than before. So I'm not really interested in a breakout through the level. But if we can confirm we can break through and hold, then I'm more interested. Come on, rip through. Show us 75. So pretty bad, Phil. And it's not holding. We want to hold this level here and push higher. This is the exact setup that I want, but if it doesn't hold, it is cook stew. The major difference between now and the open is that the volume is dropped by like 80%, compared to our first green candle. We had like 20 million on the first 5-minute candle, 20 million shares. Now it's like maybe 4. $73 low. We'll need some surprise volume if it's gonna go. Another 2 minutes, 10 seconds, and 5-minute candlestick. And the 5-minute candlestick is turning red. 2 minutes left. Again, this is the volume here versus like the open. 26 million versus 6 million. We need a stock like this to like, for the people going till 4 p.m. especially, you know, hopefully it maintains the trend here just a little bit to where it gets tighter and tighter and tighter into the wedge. And then somewhere here, there can be a breakout. If not, you know, we've already priced in high day. If we just keep going like this and then it breaks down, then again, you know, high of day is already priced in and then it's cooked. Will it uptrend enough over time to where, you know, so it more so looks something like this? The issue with this time of day is that, you know, this something like that could happen. It could happen in an hour, or it could happen at 4 p.m. You know, like the time is just way out of whack after like the first hour. ACI, hold up, hold up, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not. It's anything scans. All right, ACI. 83. I gotta check the 5-minute chart. And our candlestick. This looks like it's selling off. Christmas tree incoming. AZI potential Christmas tree here. G-Dub watching EVTV. Twice. Interesting. EVTV, it you know, again, it needs to get through that 75 level and hold. AZI, if it doesn't hold here, more than likely Christmas trees. That was a big volume spike, but not holding up so far. There's still a chance it holds here, though. EVTV is trying again. EVTV is trying again. I'm trying to break out. EVTV. I'm definitely, if this stock doesn't hold, I'm definitely out of here. I kind of like already kind of stayed a little bit. This bro, it is a struggle in that breakout. We're like right at the 75 level. ACI looks like it might be cooked all the way. $74, $73. Yeah, it's just not great timing for EVTV. I mean, there's a new candlestick and we didn't quite push through, so you know, it's looking a little rough. It might need more time. $75 again. Bro, what more does it need for the breakout? It is struggling. It looks like it's going to reject because we're getting a topping wick. I was gonna hold a small trade in AZI there off that red to green, but cutting it. So EVTV rejected again here at 75. I think this is my last trade here. It looked good, but again, maybe the lack of volume compared to earlier. Maybe it's the difference. So I'm gonna officially shut it down here. So we had a big loss. In quick summary, we had a big loss here in this setup. Here, let me put the drawing tool back on. Big loss, relatively speaking, for the day. Like we lost like 250 in this trade, which kind of put us from green 277 or $200, I'd say, like 200 to 220, somewhere there. That put us green 277 to basically, you know, plus 50 on the name. And after this breakout trade here, we took another loss. 2 losses, actually. One. Dang, this drawing tool is killing me. One right here in this dip. Why is this so laggy? Okay, there we go. One right here in this dip, like buying into this red candle. And then on the breakout here. It's showing 79. I didn't see anything close to that. I saw more like 76. And it's like a fake wick here. 76. And that was about it before it came down. Well, I think all in all, decent day. We did have some issues. The first trade was a trade we should have avoided, which was us not waiting for, you know, the signs for the red to green. That was the first trade. Second trade, much better trade coming over to this stock here and like waiting for signs off the lows, which I think might have been here at 953. If not, maybe 943 in this area. We caught two, I think maybe both. We caught both of these areas. The first trade, we made 5 cents with 1,600 shares, which was a pretty good trade. Obviously, again, the size was kind of small, but you know, after starting 3 red trades in a row, it's like, hey, let's just kind of make sure we're going to see a good move after the front side. Very skeptical in case there's only one front side move and then a Christmas tree. So I think it made a lot of sense. The second trade, which was a much better trade, we had about 4,500 shares and we made about 4 or 5 cents again. We did try to add, but sadly we were on the wrong order entry window. So we didn't get the ad to get up to 9,000. After that, a couple of small losses, 350 highs. We took a few small losses, one bigger loss of 2 something. So 350 to flat pretty much on this one. Oh, shoots, bro. Oh, come on. See, I'm still holding shares of AZI, of which I thought I sold. Bro, I'm having way too many broker issues. This is crazy. Holding small size, so it's like not like a big trade, but I'm curious if I try to sell on the wrong stock, which is a little interesting. That was a small winning trade at 43. Before switching the level 2 over. A bit sloppy there. But nevertheless, it's a tight day, right? Smaller size. Tomorrow we got to be a little bit more careful with like some hotkey stuff. And we got to avoid the unnecessary trades. I think this one here was just, out of the gates, just giving in to some older temptation. Probably not describing that properly. Old trading, old trading, you know, old trading setups which are not working in this market is what I attempted there for a quick loss. Nevertheless, a tight day, but we definitely could have done a little bit better. EVTV, it's on the slower side, and we are going to walk after giving it 2 extra attempts there for the highs. So the recap will be out around 1 or 2 p.m. market time, and we'll be looking forward to a bit of a better day for tomorrow. AZI and BNAI were the top 2 stocks today. BNAI, we had the early Christmas tree here. 416 to 448. The days are like very interesting, right? I mean, like, again, very similar to yesterday. If you're watching at a different stock in these time frames, you're kind of watching at a lot of backside or chop. Even with the other cheaper stock. So, well, 3 stocks: AVI, BNAI, and EVTV. EVTV, likewise, once the first 3 minutes go, we're kind of more, sideways here. We haven't uptrended really. We had a few moments, like right here, this one here, but we haven't had that like second leg kind of move. So something to be careful of in this market, right? AZI, this one I probably shouldn't have mentioned. More so BNAI and EVTV. AZI, we didn't really see much here outside of pre-market. Pre-market, though, it looks like we had something around the 8:50 a.m. mark into the open. Not really much. For anybody who might have had this as their main stock and just kept at it, maybe you could have caught this green candlestick if you're maybe holding from the lows, or this, flat top right here at 322. But even then, this type of move, it's like you don't really see it coming. And even when we do get it, it's a little underwhelming, as in like the follow through just doesn't come. So the setup I took here on the dip, and then again here, and this one we didn't really get to sell because we kind of fumbled the hotkey, but nevertheless, 30 to 40, 10 cents bounce off the very lows, versus the move down is like just not what we would want to see for this type of breakout, especially. This is a very high volume breakout. So to go to like nothingness in volume right after is, it's kind of tough to see. Typically, we would love for this type of stock to turn into something to then start some sort of an uptrend, even if it's not like immediate. Let's say we go sideways for a little bit here. The drawing tool is really laggy. Oh, that is bad. Yeah, let's say, we get the pullback and then eventually we start, maybe break of the whole dollar comes up over time, but we're like back down into the previous levels, which you never want to see for a breakout trade. So the breakout came at 22 over this flat top level, bear flag level. It's a bear flag flat top, right? We rejected a couple times, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times here before small wedge against the level, and then a big push. So it's a nice breakout eventually, but you know, if you're not holding through this entire level here, which is not that hard to be in if you're watching this stock holding here, right? But if you're not like anticipating the breakout trade, like, hey, I'm gonna buy the high, you know, again, we rejected 5 times, 6 times. So to say, hey, the 7th time, I know for sure this is gonna give a big move is just unrealistic, right? So it's more so I'd have to be in holding, and then the move kind of surprised me with a bigger candlestick. You know, maybe you're thinking 10, 15 cents over time, you know, over a candlestick or 2 or 3. But to not have any follow through after this massive volume spike and hitting the scans is disappointing to see on this type of stock here. We're back down at 322 level where we had the first breakout. So ultimately, we call this a Christmas tree. Up and down. And anything after this green candlestick was backside. We were never going to retest the high or get close to it. So in the moment, it's why we have to keep our stops tight, because if we're taking a support trade, you know, down here, down here, down here, we don't want to have our stops be too wide, because before you know it, you could be holding, and then this thing is like just, you know, and you're finding yourself down 50 cents in a place where you thought we could have maybe curled back up over time. So I'd say it's a bit of a slower day, right? I'm forgetting the name of the stock. EVTV, the best stock of the day. BNAI did offer 3 candlesticks at the beginning, which did have some good range. It's 416 to 491. Besides this one, EVTV, and that was it. Not much else here for the morning. So yeah, shutting it down after a bit of a quick summary there. There's going to be an official review for the recap, and I'll catch you guys at 1 p.m. market time. Stay safe, stay green. And that's in case anybody like just, you know, now shows up or maybe just watching the end of the video, like a quick summary of the day there before the actual recap. The size thing, Vitaly, it's a combination of a couple of things. Right now, I'm like trying to be very careful about bigger red days is one. Obviously, you know, with a little bit more, I gotta stop saying obviously, right? But with more size, there's a little bit more risk, and if you're not as consistent as you want to be, you know, you'll have more overwhelming red days than you would like, right? And so we're still not out of the woods completely, I would say, with like holding longer. We've made some good progress though. We've made some great progress, right? Like our whole time being able to sit through trades, wait through trades. There's been a lot of good things, but I think when it comes to size, like I'm very particular, right? I'm very particular. There's the setup has to be, you know, I guess I'm a little like tight around the edges, right? A little tight around the edges for what I want to put size to, which is definitely limiting me a little bit. And dang, what's the other thing I was gonna mention? Oh yeah, starting the day off and not starting the day off well, right? So like starting a little red, like it's all relative, right? The numbers are, if you want to say, if I'm to compare it to like a halt band, right? It's like right now we're trading in much tighter levels versus like trading with size, right? And knowing and accepting that type of risk of like, hey, 5,000 shares and 5,000 shares, and knowing, hey, on this next trade I could lose 50 cents, 2,500. But yeah, I gotta go. It's time for me to get the heck out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, stay green. But yeah, the example I was mentioning, I got kind of like getting caught in my thoughts here. Um, I gotta just be careful, like manage the risk, accept the risk. But the bands are definitely a little tighter now versus like being in a place where I'm like at the edge of my comfort zone and looking to push, right? There will be days where I look to size up a little bit more, but it's definitely going to be slow and steady, slow and steady. I don't want to rush the rush because we do have a lot of time on our hands. Like I don't need to make $1 million today or tomorrow, as nice as that would be. But I think I have to practice what I preach, which is that slowest is the fastest way, and not force it to where like I have issues, but slowly but surely over time, as we see more consistency, we add more size, and then we're at like a nice place, a nice level. But yeah, take care, stay safe, stay green.